right. Thank you for joining us here on Competing in Cornfields. We got Caroline Gibson in the house. And first off, this and every podcast is brought to you by Wilkie Financial. You have questions, they have the answers. As with most things in life, uh, the key to achieving your long-term financial objectives is planning. Check them out on Facebook or at Wilkie Financial Group LLC. Or you can get your butt off the couch and come into Lincoln Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and come talk to Craig Wilkie in person. This podcast is also brought to you by 360 Fades Barbershop. That's 360 Fades, a traditional barbershop specializing in men's haircuts and also traditional straight razor shave. Brian and the crew there will hook you up. Plus, you can have fun while you wait checking out their impressive memorabilia and video games. Last and definitely not least, we are brought to you by Jing Mo Tong here in Lincoln. Jing Mo Tong is your one-stop shop for lion dance and Chinese martial arts. Not only is it a great place to learn and grow, but if you're serious about lion dance and other performing arts and get through their tryout and screening process, like the gym is free. Of course, donations are accepted, and but I feel that I butcher this ad every time. But for more information, go check out the last podcast I did with Ray. He really gave a lot of information, and or reach out to them on Facebook. All right, thanks for sticking with me, and if you're a local business and would like to get a little whatever exposure I can give to you, I will. Let me know. And we are here with Caroline Gibson today. All right, how does it feel to be back in Nebraska? The great state of Nebraska, I might add.
I mean, I like the weather here.
Unpopular opinion.
It's nice to come back to the snow. Yeah, I guess it's nice to be home. Traveling can be kind of exhausting, so it's nice to be just in one place in my own bed, finally, instead of in a hostel with a bunch of potential weirdos. Most people were cool. Some people snored or had really weird coughs. I don't understand, but yeah, it's nice to be back.
Some people in the office at work sound like they're coughing into like a 50-gallon barrel. Like, hold on a second. That doesn't sound good at all. Anyway, so can you give us a rundown of point to point places that you did go, and if you trained jiu-jitsu there, and any camps or people that you like to give a shout out to?
Well, started in Arizona. Me and you actually went to Arizona camp. It was the first one. That was pretty fun. That was a good one. My first American Jiu-Jitsu camp as well. And they've already booked one for March, actually, which is coming up. This was in October, and they've already booked Arizona for March again. But started there, then flew to Denver, got some goodies, of course. Then flew to London, went to Bristol, and for Halloween, I was in Bristol and at...
And where is that? Where's Bristol?
It's in England.
It's in the UK.
Yeah, so I think it's in the west, like southwest, kind of, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody.
Definitely the south. I looked it up on the map.
Yeah, I could find it on a map, but off the top of my head. But so I was, and I did an autumn camp at Artemis BJJ with a few people, and then we had a Halloween party as well. So that was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of my jiu-jitsu camp people. And then I went to Plymouth, and I trained there as well.
Is all still in the UK?
Yes. I trained there for a few days because I had, in November I did 2 tournaments, so I did try to fit in as much training as I could manage while traveling. That was kind of hard, trying to figure out the logistics of where I'm staying and then walking, or do I have to get a ride to a place, and then where am I going to do my laundry? It's something I've never done before, which that was the fun part. But I did a little bit of training in Plymouth, and then I took the ferry to Dublin, which was really cool. Didn't do any training there, unfortunately. But I did a walking tour and got to see a lot of history of the city. which was really nice. And then after that, I had to go to Glasgow because I was doing the Glasgow Open. Did really bad. I got sick right before, and I only started feeling better like the day of the tournament. And I remember, yeah, I did really bad. As soon as we started going, I could feel like I was still congested in my chest and I couldn't breathe. As soon as we started moving, I was like, this is not going to end well. And it didn't. I lost the points, unfortunately.
That's not a huge deal.
It happens. And for the record, should I ever choose to do another tournament again, it's going to be sub only. As well as I went down a weight, which that was my plan. However, there's no other girls in that weight category, so I had to go up one. So that was also unfortunate. That was a strong girl I was with. She was pretty strong. She was good.
Well, anybody weight class up is going to be pretty dang strong.
Yeah. I was kind of demoralized after that. I had picked up a bottle of Famous Grouse and went to the Glasgow Botanical Gardens, which was really nice, and kind of tried to regroup my thoughts. And then I went to Preston, and then Stafford, and I trained.
Still all in the UK.
Yes, that's where I was for all of November, really. And I got to do a bit of training with Chris Payne's black belt. Really, really knows his stuff. Some things that he taught me about. Well, he said that he teaches like even his kids' class. He teaches them leg locks and foot locks from the beginning. And I was like, you can do that? Nobody does that. I feel like because they tell us, no white belts can practice that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because it can be a little more dangerous to do things like that. But he even teaches like his kids' class stuff like that, which I thought was kind of interesting. The way I guess when you go to different places, people teach things differently and they have different styles. It's all pretty much the same across the board, but people, I guess that's why you travel and go to learn things, because people do things differently, and it's just interesting to look at it that way.
Why would you ignore half the body? Am I right?
Exactly. But he taught me some conceptual things that I hadn't really thought about before, but which helped because the next tournament I did Naga, England, in I guess it was in Walsall, which is like outside of Birmingham. But so I went over there and I did a lot better. I went against I was actually in my correct weight class, which was nice. I went against the same girl for gi and no gi, and I won in the no gi match. At the last 30 seconds, I got a double leg on her and won with that, I guess, on an advantage. I didn't see any points on the board for that, but maybe I wasn't really looking. But so I guess I got an advantage of some kind for that. And then in the gi match, I went for another takedown, but then she kind of
reversed. Got your back, or
reversed off of that, and she got the points, and so that was it. But that was fun. I felt a lot better in that tournament. Also, I wasn't coming off being sick, so that was convenient. But that's where I was for the first month, and then I went back to Preston for a bit, and then I flew out of Manchester to Amsterdam. Also, as you can see, I have my nice Amsterdam city flag. I like to collect flags as well. That's something that I kind of nerd out about, is flag designs. I think they're really cool. As well as I did some extracurricular activities, of course, in Amsterdam. It was also a very beautiful city as well. I would, besides the extracurricular activities, I would encourage you to visit Amsterdam. It's just a beautiful old city. I went to the Maritime Museum, learned about the Dutch East India Company, and can you imagine being a sailor and just sailing into the city back in the 1600s while the sun is setting over it? I don't know. It was just really nice. Then I went to Germany, Austria, Arnold Museum in
Yes.
Austria. I visited there in Thal, I think it was. His
Tall.
whatever. His childhood home. They turned it into a museum. It was really cool. And then I went to Poland after that for a bit, and visited Pope John Paul II museum where he lived in Krakow. That was nice. And I did some training as well in Germany and Heidelberg. We went to Mannheim actually. We took the train. Me and Carla. Shout out to Carla, super nice girl, really cool, great training partner. If you ever go to Heidelberg. And then when I was in Munich as well, I trained with Eva at her gym there. And then I finished off the trip by going to the BJJ Globetrotters winter camp in Austria. Plague Camp 2020, a lot of people got sick.
Plague.
I got sick at the end.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I wasn't sick during most of the camp, but I got sick at the end. But yeah, that was rundown of my trip.
Sweet. How was Dublin?
That was, yeah, I kind of fell in love with that city as well. It was really nice. I did a pub crawl there and I met a few other Americans and some other British people, but it was a really nice city as well.
Were they hyping up the Cowboy Connor fight this coming weekend?
I saw some posters for it as well. I didn't get to talk to anybody about it really. Fortunately, I didn't meet any other people who enjoy the same hobby of watching MMA fights.
I feel like they would all be like going crazy over Conor McGregor if they were, in Ireland.
Yeah, and I mean, I do know I've met some people who live and train in Dublin who have met him as well, which is cool. I haven't, unfortunately. That would be dope, but yeah, I know some people in Dublin who have met him and trained with him.
Yeah, and also there are mixed reviews, like, from the Irish people. Like, I know we met some people in Arizona who had some mixed reviews and things like that. But anyway, so, like, of all the places that you, like, went and visited this trip and places that you might have revisited even, like, what is your favorite one that you went to on this trip?
I would say Poland. I love Poland. Great country. Don't really understand the language, which is fine. I like Germany as well. I've always liked Germany. I wouldn't say I speak the language at all, but at least I can kind of get by reading it. But Polish, don't understand it. That's fine. I like the way it sounds. I like the people. I like the food. I like the country. It's beautiful. As well as maybe it was 2 years ago, I went to the Globetrotters Zen camp in Poland. That was my first time there. And that was really nice. Yeah, I guess I would like to hype up as well doing the Jiu-Jitsu Globetrotter camps. There's
BJJ Globetrotters on Facebook and all that.
Mostly in Europe, but they have a few American camps as well, and there's one as well on the
they have Maine
Island. Yeah.
They have Maine, Arizona. There's one other one in the U.S.
I think so. I forget where.
I don't know.
Maybe there has been
Boston.
One.
I don't know. That could be fake.
And there's other organizations and groups and gyms who have camps and stuff as well. So any of them you can do would be fun. But just I've met so many amazing people from these camps and so many good training partners and learned so much from them. And that's really why I went on this trip to begin with. Some of the people I met had done stuff like this. They traveled and they trained, and I was like, well, if they've done that, then I could do it too. That sounds like a lot of fun, just to see all this stuff and see all this history in Europe that, for example, like we're such a young country, but I just thought it would be great to be able to travel and see all these things and then see some of my training partners as well.
Yeah. So you were gone for like, I wasn't able to like really pinpoint it. It was in between 75 and 80 days. And then Christian, the guy who made BJJ Globetrotters, went on a 180-day trip for jiu-jitsu. Like, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
You could almost write a book.
Well, he wrote a book, which I read, which also inspired me and helped me out a bit with my journey. I think he was gone for at least like 4 months.
180 days.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, that's all right. 2 months is one thing. That was kind of a long time, but like more than that, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
So okay, so whenever you met other people in there, what were their opinions of Americans like in general? I'm not talking about you like a like a decently well-traveled person who can like kind of fit in. What was their opinion of like your average Joe American going to Walmart?
I think
I like Walmart, by the way.
I think, believe it or not, most people I met did have a good opinion of Americans. And especially amongst the campers, everybody kind of likes each other. There's always a bit of which I enjoy. There's always a bit of banter between people from different countries. I did meet this Dutch guy in Krakow at the hostel. Uh, we both kind of agreed that we don't like French people. We don't like the French, and he also didn't like Americans. But he was like, "Oh, you're cool though," and I'm like, "That's cool," because I also don't like the Dutch either. But you're cool. But yeah, the stereotypes always exist. Stereotypes also do exist for a reason, first of all. Um, but most of the people that you meet are pretty cool, and so they did have not the worst opinion of Americans. The thing I did get
They
asked,
better not.
I did get asked somewhat frequently about guns and stuff. Like, what's like having guns in America? Isn't that scary? This couple I met from Liverpool, the guy asked me, yeah, so what would it, if you get in an argument with your friend, why wouldn't you just go grab a gun and just threaten him with it? And I was like, what? No one would, for the most part, nobody would ever do that. Like, even if you didn't have a gun, if you got into an argument, you wouldn't just go grab a shovel and just hit your friend with it. Like, um, that was, I think, their biggest misconception with Americans was that just having guns and that it's dangerous. But aside from that, I'd say they had a pretty good opinion of us.
That's awesome. Yeah, because if they had a bad opinion on Americans, they're wrong. Uh, all right.
Well, I'm Texan, so I
Yeah.
kind of have a bad opinion of Americans sometimes. No offense.
All right. All right, you separatist. So, all right. So I know Jiu-Jitsu for women is starting to blow up here in Lincoln. You know, with Lincoln Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Center's women's only classes. You know, they're having in like almost 20 people a class. A lot of people. And anytime I go to 10th Planet Lincoln, there are at least 2 to 3 women there. So from your experience, do you think more women are training overseas in Jiu-Jitsu?
I wouldn't say more, and I wouldn't say less. I'd say it's about the same.
It's about the same.
Yeah, that's what it seemed to be. I couldn't really guess it like a percentage. Maybe 15%. It seems like.
Of 15% of the, like an
Oh.
open mat will be women.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot.
So there will be definitely not 20. There will definitely be some women there, but you know, it's just not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is some representation there.
Yeah.
That's my cat. Look at her. She's the best.
Anyway. Uh. Where do you fit on the Connor versus Cowboy fight next weekend?
I was a Connor fan for quite a while. He's good. I love his banter. That's honestly most of it. I love the stuff he says. But as of recently, some of the last, I'd known about Cowboy, but I'd never really just been a fan or even really specifically watched his fights. But the last few I've seen were pretty great, and I'm like, dang, this guy is also a badass. So this is going to be a really good fight, I think. and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I just had the same breakdown as every other person who's looked at this fight. Connor might knock him out in like the first couple rounds. You
You
know,
reckon?
yeah, well, yeah, because
Possibility.
Connor has that like quick strength that's good for a couple rounds. It could be good for 5 rounds. I don't know, but and then Cowboy's a slower starter, and so he's a slow starter mixed with somebody who's going hard in those first couple rounds, and Connor's looking jacked, jacked. So yeah, we'll have to see. Anything else you want to talk about? Real quick, shout out to Midwest Chiropractic in Elkhorn, Nebraska. Just got open this last week, and they have a gym there too. So if you're in Omaha at all, reach out to Nolan Clausen on Facebook or Midwest Chiropractic, and they will hook you up. And also, yeah, anybody who would like to do a podcast, I would definitely like to do one with you too. Assuming like you do compete or know about a or are knowledgeable about a certain subject that people are interested in. Let's do it. You good? Thanks a lot for listening. See ya. Bye.